Hello Mudlarking Friends, and welcome to 10-Minute Treasures with Old Father Thames. Each week during the COVID-19 lockdown, I will be sharing 10-minute videos with you, looking at some of my favourite finds refound. A quick explanation for my new viewers. I'm a modern-day mudlark, which means I search the tidal River Thames foreshore in London to find historical items which lay preserved in the anaerobic mud. From prehistoric via medieval to modern, the river contains a rich history of life's remnants from London and beyond, and I like to share that with you. Usually you'd see me down on the foreshore where I take you on a history hunt. However, as we're currently on lockdown, mudlarking is totally off limits, so for now I am sharing my previous foreshore finds and their history from home. Fear not, I will still be sharing lots of footage of the River Thames shot on previous adventures, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this little slice of history from me to you. This week we'll look at my Veronica Pilgrim Badge, also known as a vernicle, a representation of the Veil of Saint Veronica. I found this pilgrim badge in 2017 and it remains one of my favourite finds. It's medieval, dating from 1400 to 1500. The badge is made of lead alloy and was cast to depict the Veronica. More about that in a minute. Pilgrim badges were sold in the medieval period as souvenirs of pilgrimage, a journey which promised spiritual rewards that was widespread among all social classes of the time. Pilgrims would often buy small pewter and lead alloy badges at the holy sites they visited, which both signified the completion of their journey and a sign of devotion and commemoration. The badges come in all shapes and sizes, from large intricate openwork pieces to smaller shield-like icons. I featured a Rood of Grace pilgrim badge bought by a fellow mudlark in an earlier video, and that badge is a fairly large piece depicting a detailed Christ on the cross, decorated with intricate floral motifs. Europe in the 14th and 15th centuries saw the production of pilgrim badges at its most prolific. Following the Protestant Reformation of the mid-16th century, pilgrim badge production and circulation declined somewhat. Like the pilgrimage itself, pilgrim badges were accessible to all classes. By cheaply mass-producing the pieces, which were cast in bronze, cuttlebone or limestone moulds, they were likely affordable to any person, no matter their social standing. You can see that this badge is circular, with a central panel bordered by a ring of dot-in rings. The central panel depicts the bearded face of Christ in low relief. The reverse is blank, and the pin and catch plate that would have allowed this article to be pinned to clothing is sadly missing. British pilgrim badges often have an integral pin and clasp on the reverse, whereas continental European badges more usually have sewing loops, but this is not a hard and fast rule. The badges were worn on outer clothing such as hats or around the neck. Some badges were designed to be fixed to the top of pilgrim staffs, to proudly display where the wearer had been on their pilgrimage. The Museum of London has an identical badge in its collection. Information on the screen now. They describe it as a vernicle, a souvenir of the Veronica in Rome. The Veronica was the veil of St. Veronica. The religious legend goes that Veronica had been so moved to pity by the sight of Christ carrying his cross, she gave him her veil to wipe his forehead. When he gave it back to her, the image of his face had been miraculously impressed upon it. The veil was kept at St. Peter's Basilica, where it was periodically displayed. By the 14th century, it was displayed every Sunday and became Rome's chief attraction. writing on the website medievalbadges.ca, which is a project led by scholars of Waterloo University, Canada. Sarah Johnston and Mackenzie Pritchard write, "The Shrine of the Veronica was one of Rome's biggest pilgrim attractions in the Middle Ages. The first direct reference to its existence are from the end of the 12th century. At that time, it was hidden behind a curtain away from the public. Pope Innocent III, born 1161, died 1216, brought it closer to the public by parading it through the streets on Fridays and feast days. Allowing pilgrims this access helped make Rome an ever more popular pilgrim destination. By the early 17th century, the Vale of Veronica had disappeared from public view. If it is still housed in Rome, it has very likely disintegrated. Textiles usually do not last more than 2,000 years, although there are exceptions due to preservation conditions such as the Tarkan dress, which is over 5,000 years old." Due to its frequent exposure in the Middle Ages, most scholars believe that the Veronica is no longer extant. Collectively, the tens of thousands of pilgrim badges that have been found worldwide, predominantly in rivers, since the mid-19th century, form the largest body of medieval art objects surviving to this day. Similar Veronica Pilgrim badges are available to view online. I'll put some information up on the screen there if you want to go and check them out. They're both on the Portable Antiquities Scheme website and also at the British Museum. Information on the screen. I hope you enjoyed the first episode in my 10-Minute Treasures series. It's a lockdown special edition and I hope to be back on the foreshore soon. But until then, I'll keep doing these little bites of history on some of my finds refound. Thanks as ever for subscribing and watching, and I'll share another 10-Minute Treasure with you again next week. Take care, everyone.
Children grow up strong, refuse to accept whatever comes along, help to straighten out this twisted world. Face their fears.